Hello and welcome to another episode. I am Brian, the Unskilled Commander, and this is another gameplay video. As always, the point of this series is to play four of my decks against each other to try and find their weaknesses and improve them all, hopefully with your help, making suggestions on what cards to add, what cards to take out. You get to see how the decks play and how my thought process works whenever I'm playing a game as to why I attack a certain player, why I do certain things. This should be a fun matchup. We've got two life gain decks, Dina and Angels, and we also have Maze's End Guildgate Wincon deck and Animar Big Green Stompies. Now to help speed things along, what I've been doing is doing the first three turns without filming it so you don't see all the play of lands passes. I'll go through what minor things I've done as I get to each deck. But we're going to go ahead and jump into turn 4, starting with the Guildgates deck. They got to go first. All we were able to do was just play 3 lands. I did play an Open the Gates, which let me go get a gate, so I specifically got Gond Gate, because it allows other gates to come in untapped, because most gates do come in tapped. I will draw for turn. I will play a Gruul Guildgate. Comes in untapped thanks to the Gond Gate, but the problem being I don't have anything to really play. Even with 4 mana, I don't have the right colors of mana to play the 1/4 drop I have. I'm unfortunately going to have to just pass and leave my shields down. I appreciate you guys checking out the channel and the episode. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Throw some likes around, all that normal garbage. And I hope you're having a good day out there. If you're not, I hope it gets better for you. So we pass over to Angels, which is a very aggressive and very powerful deck. We're going to see if it dominates the entire match of 3 or if it's just, not as good as I think. Who knows? Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. I was able to play a Speaker of the Heavens, which is a 1/1 Vigilance lifelink, and you can tap it to create a 4/4 Angel creature token, but only if you've gained 7, or only if you have 7 life more than your starting total. I also cracked Unmirrored Landscape to get an extra 2 lands out, so I will play a Karo, comes in tapped, and when it comes into play, return an untapped plains you control to your hand, otherwise you bury Caro, and it just taps for a white and a colorless. So I bounce that plains back to my hand. I have 3 mana, but nothing I can do with 3 mana, and really nothing. Oh yes, there is. How silly. I will tap 2 and play Giada, Font of Hope, commander of the deck. A 2/2 flying vigilance. Each other angel you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each angel already on the battlefield, well, that you control. And pretty much most people have Giada as the commander of their angels deck because she's just so good, and it helps power up your angels very quick. Now that I do have a blocker, I can swing Speaker of Heavens again. We will swing. I've already hit them each for 1. Unfortunately, I cannot get through on Dina, so I will just hit you again. Actually, no, we will hit the Animar Big Stompy because you're not doing anything yet. But big green Stompy creatures is dangerous too. I gain a life and I'll pass turn. Over here, we were able to play Dina Soul Steeper, the commander of the deck, a 1/3. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life, and you can pay 1 and sacrifice another creature, and Dina gets a buff, but I don't think I've ever done that as well. We also played Endless Atlas, artifact that you can pay 2 and tap it to draw a card, but activate the ability only if you control 3 or more lands with the same name. I'm going to draw for turn. I will play a forest, tap 2 for Rampant Growth. Search your library for basic lane card, put on the battlefield tapped. We'll go ahead and get another forest. So hey, now I have 3 lands of the same name, so I can in fact use that if I need to. And we have nothing else that we can do, so why not? We'll tap 2, tap Endless Atlas, and draw a card. Alright, that's interesting. Nothing super great, it's just a cultivate, but hey, we do have some high cost cards in our hands, so ramping a bunch early game is always good. But I will pass turn. Come over here to Animar. We're going to untap, upkeep, draw. All I was able to do is play some lands, a Cinderglade, and I played a forest and then a Gruul Turf, bouncing the forest to my hand. So I will play the forest again. So we do have a good bit of land and mana, but unfortunately we are missing 1 color in order to cast Animar himself, which is going to be problematic for the deck. But we will go 1, 2, 3, 4 and play the Greater Good. You can sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power, and then discard 3 cards. I will then pass turn to turn 5, untap, upkeep, draw. I will play Black Dragon Gate. As it enters, it enters tapped but untaps because of Gone Gate, and as it enters, choose a color other than black. I will choose green. So now it taps for either black or green, and that is what we needed. So we got black. Oops, nope, shoot, still don't have the right colors. But that's all right. We're going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4 and play Circuitous Route. Search your library for up to 2 basic lane cards or gate cards. Put them both on the battlefield tapped. So we need ourselves a green, or a blue rather. So we're going to get Azorius Guildgate and Simic Guildgate. They'll enter the battlefield tapped, but enter untapped thanks to Gond Gate. So we got 3 mana, nothing we can do with 3 mana, but we are poised to finally start playing things on our next turn. We will pass. We untap over here, upkeep, draw. I will play a Plains. Go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to play Boon Reflection. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. Really, really good card. I will go ahead and tap 1 for a kind of broken Serra Ascendant in Commander. The reason I say that is because it says as long as you have 30 or more life, Serra Ascendant gets +5/+5 and has flying. It's a 1/1, so it is now a 6/6 flying lifelink. Because Commander, you start out with 40 life, so it's automatically online, as long as it's not like mid or late game and you've taken damage. Might as well, right? So we're going to go ahead and move to combat. I keep tapping this and it shouldn't. It's Vigilance. I will hit you this time for 1, but I will gain 2 thanks to Boon Reflection. Still need a couple more life before I can tap it to make a Angel, but that should be next turn. We will then pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. So now everybody should be focusing on Angels because they're clearly going to be the threat quickly. We draw for turn. I'm going to play a Forest. Tap 3 to cultivate. I will put a Swamp onto the battlefield and a Forest into my hand. We have 3 mana left. I will tap that 3 mana and play Sword of Truth and Justice. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from white and from blue. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, put a counter on a creature you control, then proliferate. So Dina was originally solely designed to be a life gain deck, but it didn't work right because I have like Aetherflux in here and I wanted it to be like, oh, I gain a ton of life and pipe somebody for 50 damage and then gain it back again real quick. It just never functioned that way, even though pretty much every spell in the deck said gain a life in some fashion. So I took a bunch of cards out and spliced in a bunch of poison counter cards from my Atraxa deck that I took apart. So now she's life gain and poison. So that's why the sword is in there, to equip it to an infect creature to do more infect damage and to proliferate. Still nothing else I can do, so I will pass. We're going to untap, upkeep, draw for turn, play a Forest. Okay, this might work. I'm going to tap 1, 2, 3 and play Outcaster Trailblazer. It's a 4/2. Whenever it enters the battlefield, add 1 mana of any color. I'm going to add a blue. Whenever another creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. I will use that blue and then tap the Gruul Turf for red and green to cast Animar, Soul of Elements. It's a 1/1 with protection from white and from black. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a counter on Animar. Creature spells cost 1 less to cast for each counter on Animar. So that really, really helped out to get us that blue we needed, but nothing else we can do. We're going to pass to turn 6 and see what the old gates can do. We're going to untap, upkeep, draw. I will tap 1, 2, 3 and play Azusa, Lost but Seeking. So I will play Thespian Stage for my land for turn. It's not a gate. It just adds colorless, but you can pay 2 and tap it, and it becomes a copy of a target land except it has this ability. So I can use that to copy Maze's End if I want. And then second land for turn will be a Gateway Plaza, but as it enters, you need to pay 1, otherwise you sacrifice it, so I'll pay 1 for it. Actually, we'll tap this Thespian Stage, so I have access to colors, and I still have a bunch of mana. Now, I believe now we should have the proper things, so we're going to tap for green, blue, black, and 1 other to play 9 Fingers Keen. A 4/4 with Menace and Ward, you have to pay 9 life. Whenever 9 Fingers Keen deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 9 cards of your library. You may put a gate card from among them on the battlefield. Then if you control 9 or more gates, put the rest into your hand. Otherwise, put the rest in the bottom in any order. Pretty cool, but nothing else we can do. I will go ahead and pass turn. So we're doing well over there in terms of getting gates, but we're not getting Maze's End, which is the way to win. So we're going to untap over here, upkeep, draw for turn. I will play a Plains. We're going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4 and play Aetherflux Reservoir. Whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life. For each spell you've cast this turn and pay 50 life. It deals 50 damage to target creature or player. Now, the bad part is I have no easy way to get through with Speaker of the Heavens, so now I don't gain any life. Yep, I got 3 mana. Although, no, yes I do. I got a flying lifelink, and no one else has flying. So we're going to finally hit you. Going to move to combat, swing a 6/6 lifelink at you, gain life up to 51. Move to our second main phase. Now I will tap Speaker of the Heavens to make a 4/4 angel token. Giada says, whenever another angel enters the battlefield, it comes in with a +1/+1 counter for each angel that I control already. So it will come in with 1 counter on it, because I have, yes, this is a human monk. It looks like it should be an angel, but it's just a human. However, sorry, Boon Reflection, I actually gained another 6, so that's really, really awesome. And technically, I didn't cast anything. But I could go ahead and just minus myself down to 7 life and literally eliminate someone from the game right now. I have 2 blockers, but if I eliminated one of the people that has 2 creatures, only one thing would get through currently, and everything, like at the best it would be is like a 4, so I would still survive, but I don't know how long I would survive. Even with the doubling of life gain and stuff, I don't think I would be able to gain too much life. So I think that's a little ambitious. It's a little jerk-like, so we'll just let it go for everyone knows I can do it. So that's a good deterrent too, because you can be like, hey, don't come at me, or I will just immediately kill you, you know? But we'll see. But that's all I can do. We're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap over here, upkeep, draw for turn. Going to play a forest. Now here's the fun thing. Both of the, like, Animar has protection from white, and Sword of Truth and Justice has protection from white and from blue. So both of these can start getting through no matter what. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and play Skrillex. I just call him Skrillex. The Blight Dragon, a 4/4 flying, has Infect. Pay a black, and it gains haste until end of turn. Or you can play 2 black and regenerate it. Oh my gosh, we can totally do that. So we're going to pay 2 and equip Sword of Truth and Justice onto Skrillex over here. So it is now a 6/6 with Infect, and I can go ahead and pay a black to give it haste and swing it. Well, I mean, there's you go. So I would swing it at you, obviously, right? You can't block it, so which means you wouldn't take 6 damage, but you would take 6 Infect, and 10 Infect, you lose the game. And I can totally just swing again next turn, do it again, and take you out. However, at instant speed, in response to me declaring attackers, I could go ahead and Aetherflux Reservoir them and take them out, and then they would swoop in for 4, 5, and I would go down to 2 life. You know, I'm curious as to how that would work. I want to see what Angels can do. I'm gonna say, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna call your bluff, tough guy. I'm swinging 6 Infect at you. Okay, I minus 50 Aetherflux Reservoir and blast you for 50 damage. Kaboosh. That is very disappointing from Dina's perspective. I told you, I warned you, I said don't do it. I'm a crazy son of a bitch. So they're done. Everyone else is like, holy crap, they did it. And then pass turn. So then untap, upkeep, draw. We're going to play Temple of the False Gods, which is in fact online. I will tap 2 and play Up the Beanstalk. It's an enchantment. Up the beat whenever it enters the battlefield, and whenever you cast a creature spell with 5 mana value 5 or greater, you draw a card. So I'm going to draw a card. I already played a land for turn. I will then go 1, 2, 3, 4, and play Goreclaw, Terror of Kals Sisma, a 4/3. Creature spells you cast with power 4 or greater cost 2 less to cast. Whenever it attacks, each creature you control gets with 4 power or greater gets +1/+1 and gains trample until the turn. So I played a creature that has a power of 4 or greater, so I draw a card off of that. Another land, not super great, but that's fine. Now here's the thing. What do we do now? Because like I said, now Animar does have protection from white, so we're swinging it no matter what just because. But first of all, we played a creature, so it does actually get a counter, so it's a 2/2. So you lose 2 life off of that. If I swing Outcast Trailblazer, you can absolutely block and kill it with your flying 5/5. So there's not really much point in doing that, but there isn't anything else to do. We got them down to 5. We'll see, and they can't really do much either. So I think Angels is going to be able to come back from this pretty easily. But from that perspective, what else was I going to do? Was I going to swing the Infect over to one of these guys? Why? I literally had protection from white. You got to swing in on the threat. But I think we're going to have to pass, going to turn 7, untap over here, upkeep, draw. Now here's something. We're going to tap 3 green, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to reshape the earth. Search your library for up to 10 land cards, put them on a battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. Okay, so here's the double-edged sword on this one. These gates all come in untapped. However, Maze's End, the important card, is not a gate, so it does come in tapped. But we have a ton of mana that we can play things with. And I guess we should leave up 4 mana to protect Maze's End, just in case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll tap blue, blue, and then 2 others to cast Teferi's Ageless Insight. If I would draw a card except on my first draw on the card draw step, I draw 2 cards instead. But the problem is, really can't go swinging and there's no point. But we are poised to win on our next turn, so Angels is going to have to focus fully on us. And then, even then, I don't know that they can kill us with 38 life. So we'll pass turn. And always, of course, as you'll notice, and if you've watch my channel at all, you know I don't run a ton of interaction. I put some into every deck, but not a lot. You'll go up against people that every other card is some sort of counter spell or bounce spell or destruction spell or board wipe. I don't do that. I just want to play my game. I want to play the deck I built. I want to play the cards. So the point of that being, I don't have anything. I don't have land destruction in any of these decks. And I don't have any way to really stop. I had no counter spells to stop that, reshape the earth, where most pods somebody would have played a counter spell on that. So we untap, upkeep, draw for turn. I'll play Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, and sure, I will tap 2 and tap Nykthos to activate its ability, gaining 1, 2, 3, 4 mana, 4, 5, 6, and I will cast Angelic Skirmisher, a flying 4/4. At the beginning of each combat, choose First Strike, Vigilance, or Lifelink. Creatures you control gain the ability until end of turn. It's going to come in with 2 counters, because I have 2 angels out. I cast a spell, so I'm going to gain 2 life, thanks to Aether Flux and Boon Reflection. And I actually did this in the wrong order because, of course, we're going to tap 3 for Oketra's Monument. White creature spells cost 1 less to cast, so I should have done the other. And whenever you cast a creature spell, make a white warrior creature. So yeah, I say this all the time, and I don't listen to my own advice, but read the cards in your hand before you make plays each turn. I think this was my draw from last turn, and I just never bothered to read it, because I'm going to do this, I have a plan. It's like, always stop and read your cards. Again, it's not about the stupid reading the card explains the card, it's just making sure you know what you have. So we're going to move to combat. Beginning of combat, we get to make the choice. I guess you make everything have lifelink. But it doesn't matter. It's not enough, is it? So I have 1, 2, 3 flyers that are going to do 13 damage in the air. I'll gain 26, but that's not enough for me to use Aetherflux Reservoir. I did cast another second spell, though. So I gain 1 life for each spell. So I will gain 2 life, but that will be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, still 20, and it's going to be like 37. It's still way too low. Even if I swung with this and gained that extra 2 life, that's not enough. Wow, that's impressive. Okay, so there you go, but we're going to do it. So I'm going to swing everything in the air that I can at you. Like I said, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then I gain 26. So I'm up to 37. I can tap him to make another angel, which would come in with 1, 2, 3 counters on it. So it's a 7/7. That's amazing. And whenever I cast a creature, I didn't cast it, so that's not going to take effect. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So we pass turn. Looks like Gates has got this one on lock. Nicely done. We'll see what Animar can do, though. So we untap over here, upkeep, draw for turn, play an island, because why not? So big creatures now cost 3 less to cast. So that means 1, 2, 3 green, and then 3 to cast, so I only need 2 more, so we will tap Temple of the False Gods to cast Gulta, Stampede Tyrant. We have some triggers, so another creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield, I'll draw a card. I cast a spell, so this goes up, and whenever a card mana value 5 or more comes in, I draw a card, so I draw another card. But then Gulta says when it enters the battlefield, put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. So that's going to be, oh man, Giant Ataphage, Caller of the Pack, and Titanoth Rex. So I'm going to draw 3 cards because it's just enter the battlefield, not cast. 1, 2, and 3. But I didn't cast these 3, so that's not going to change. And this says whenever you cast, so I'm not drawing a billion cards. Yeah, I got some decent stuff. These are great. None of them have haste, so I still only have these 3 to attack with. Animar is guaranteed, well, it has protection from white and from black, so this can't block it, but Azusa can, and it doesn't have trample. Man, such great cards for Animar. Animar swooping in at the last second to really have a powerhouse, but it's just not enough. Like I said, no one has land destruction. I pass turn, because I can't do anything. There's not even a point in swinging. Pass turn, untap, upkeep, draw. I pay 3, bounce Maze's End in my hand, go searching for a guild gate. I got way more than 10 guild gates. I win the game. Kaboosh! Wow, that was pretty fun. It's really impressive that, and this was what, turn 8, right? Possibly 9, but I don't think I missed one. Maybe I did. But so guild gates can win on turn 10 as long as you find Maze's End and don't miss a land drop. It can go, I've seen it go as fast as turn 6 or 7, so turn 8 isn't super crazy fast, but it's still pretty impressive just doing it naturally without like trying to get it, like doing a really good opening hand or whatever, mulliganing down special. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you saw some cool cards that you want to put in your decks. How would you improve any of these decks and make them better? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time.